I am Kristen Gerst, and this is Real Estate Divas. I'm here with my fabulous co-host,
J. Thompson.
And we are going to be discussing how to optimize your Airbnb listing, which is something that is near and dear to my heart.
Yeah, near and dear to both of our hearts, and is changing, has changed, always changing. So y'all are going to get the most update information we've got.
If anybody didn't notice, but a week ago today, the Airbnb site was down for a couple hours. And why? Because they are rolling out their brand new website, which tells me I've got to go figure out what's important to Airbnb now.
Yeah, all over again.
All over again. They've changed their algorithm. Don't think that they haven't,
Yeah.
even though they didn't, even though they don't advertise it.
No, they're not going to advertise any of this. It's just they have a certain thing that they're looking for, and now we're just going to all have to figure it out from scratch again.
So people want to know, Kristen, how do you get 80 to 100% occupied when there are people who are getting zero bookings out there? Zero. And what's the average occupancy rate? I think it's something like 52%.
Yeah, it's in the 50s. It's not, and for some people that's great. You know, they don't want that, they don't want 100%, they don't want the wear and tear or the maintenance of that sort of thing. So for some people, that's fabulous. However,
some people need absolutely every
maximize.
day, because really from 2 years ago, June 2022, all of a sudden across the board, and I have data to support it, even on my stuff, we went down 30 to 40%.
Well,
in revenue.
How many times have we had a conversation about the oversaturation that's out there? You know, there was a time and place several years back where you had an Airbnb and you were rolling in it. You know, that's when the arbitrage was a big thing. That's all of it. Every tactic you used with short-term rental worked, period.
It was amazing. 7 years ago when I did my first one and I popped it up, I had a booking within 3 hours. I was basically check in, check out, 100% occupied within 2 weeks, and it went on for 90 days. I don't have that anymore. Now I am keeping my calendars full, but it's taking a lot of work. Before it was just park it.
Just
ignore
it up there. Hey, I'm rocking. You know what? I rock at this.
I know. and I'd be like, I'm like the best thing that's ever happened to this.
Yeah.
No. And so now, I'm spending a minimum of an hour a day optimizing.
Which doesn't seem like a lot, but when you're used to not spending any hours a day, and also now that was an hour a day before they relaunched.
Yeah. And when I say a minimum, it's a minimum.
Yeah.
I've spent 2 and 3 hours going through and just over. I've kind of got it down to a good system now. Let's go over some of the tricks. Airbnb and Vrbo, and we're just going to talk about those two because those two are the ones that are going to get
Those are the main players.
And they're going to get you 99% of your bookings anyways. Everybody's going, oh, you should just be direct. I get it. But they spend a lot of money on advertising, and majority of your bookings are going to come from one of those two platforms.
Absolutely.
You have to do this on both platforms, and you must do it inside logged into the account. So for me, and hopefully nobody from Airbnb or Vrbo is watching this, but I have 4 Airbnb accounts and I have 2 Vrbo accounts, and I have to log in on separate laptops on every single different account and then go through every single listing to optimize these things. And I'm doing it almost every day.
Wow. Well, we won't go into, because there is another episode that you can go back and look at that we talked about why she set up the different accounts on different laptops to begin with. But let's just talk about the optimization. Right? So what is the first thing that you do whenever you go in there and you're deciding, all right, I need to optimize this listing. It's Monday. What are we doing?
It's Monday morning. I'm going to first start, and I'm going to change something in both the title. Now, I don't want to change it too drastically. It might be only adding an exclamation point, or maybe taking off an S or adding a space, an extra space somewhere, something benign so that it still looks like my title, but I'm just going to change it. And then the next time I go back, I'll just reverse it, right?
Go back and forth. Well, and that's very similar to what we do whenever, like in the MLS, when I'm putting a property in the MLS and maybe it's been on the market for a second. Well, then I'm going to go in there and I'm going to change it just a little bit here and there so it refreshes, and now it's going to be higher up on that algorithm and it's going to be higher up in that search engine. And that's really important for the people customer facing when I'm looking up, hey, I want to look up this property in this area. Well, now mine's going to be at the top of the list.
Right. And this is super important. And what people don't realize, you might be in an area that has 40 Airbnbs. Well, that map is only going to show the first 20.
Yeah, you got to go to page two, which most people don't make it to page 2 unless you're looking for specifics. It's kind of like where do listings go to, anything go to die? Page 2 of Google.
Right.
You know, hardly anybody goes.
And to get on that page 1, you've got to constantly be fresh. So I also update something in the main body. The reason why I hit different things is because they change the algorithm all the time. So it was just changed. I guarantee it. It was just changed last week. It'll probably be changed now in another 4 to 6 months. So every 4 to 6 months, you can expect to see another change. So make sure you're doing different things. So if you don't have a good response from changing something in like the main body of the description, okay, well, make sure and hit your title. Then
Add another picture.
But don't get too crazy with your pictures, because I've seen some listings that have like 80 pictures on there, and I'm like, I've actually like,
come on now, nobody's looking at 80 pictures.
well, I'm leaving for Scotland.
Yeah.
In a couple weeks, and and I travel Airbnb. I stay Airbnb. I'm a big supporter.
Absolutely.
So all of my lodgings are Airbnb, and there were so many that, like, if they had 80 photos and I'm like, I want to see if they have a patio or what's the view from the window. If I scrolled through 20 photos and I didn't see what I was looking for, I was like, I'm
done.
like bored, I'm done.
Yeah.
And I'm on to the next one. I'm like, this is ridiculous. Why am I seeing like 6 of like this couch?
Yeah, I don't need to see the accessories. I want to see what you've got. Make sure it's nice.
Yeah. So switching a couple photos around. Adding in, so I don't always add in descriptions in the photos, like when I first list it, but then I'll go in and maybe once a week or once a month, I'll go in and add in captions for all those photos. You can just add one caption of photos. So Jaylee, are you going to the Quest event?
Of course I'm going to the Quest event.
I love it every time it comes up. This is something no real estate investor should miss.
Absolutely.
I've heard there's people flying in from all over the country.
Well, I mean, they've got over 20,000 investors across the nation, and these people are not only coming to learn, but they're also bringing deals. So if you are not going to the Quest event, get your ticket now. They're 50% off.
That's correct. So
50% off.
You can do a regular admission for $225 right now with 50% off discount, or
VIP.
$425.
And it's going to be at the Irving Convention Center on June 27th through 29th.
Yes, ma'am.
Be there. You'll see us there, and you're going to get so much knowledge. You're going to be on sensory overload.
And that's going to bring your listing up to the top.
Nice.
So
that's funny because also in the MLS, that is something that we do as well, because you can add captions to the pictures, or you can just load them and there are no captions. Yeah. So
but
adding the captions definitely helps.
And it's probably common sense stuff that people know, all right, so this is, as soon as, and if you are questioning whether Airbnb thinks your listing is fresh or not, when you click on the listings, it'll tell you the last time that listing was changed. It'll say, oh, this was updated, or this was refreshed yesterday, or it was refreshed April 16th. Okay, well, you want to hit that one first, because it's really showing as stale. So switching pictures, changing your title, changing something in the body, doesn't have to be drastic, but you do have to do that. Hit save. The next thing that you want to look at is your availability. The lower days, for whatever reason, one day, which I don't like.
I don't like it either.
I have a minimum of 3 days, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So if you're going to book one of those days, you're going to stay a minimum of 3 days. But very few people book Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So I put one day, all they need to book. I still don't like it, but what I found with the cleaning fee being really high, a lot of people aren't going to book one day anyways. Definitely not during the week. So, but if you put those Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays as one day available, Airbnb goes,
Oh, awesome.
awesome.
She needs to be up there.
She needs to be up there because she's willing to just do one night stays, which a lot of people aren't willing to do. So Airbnb really does like that. Vrbo,
Not as much.
So they're for longer stays. Vrbo is for fancier places. Vrbo has higher clientele, but they're also more expensive. So you end up paying more for that.
Well, and because you and I talked about because I was doing a 2-day there for a while, and I was like, yeah, I think I'm switching to 3-day. And it didn't hurt my business whatsoever. But
No, it will only help it.
Yeah.
But so many people are afraid that they're going to lose bookings because they're not offering it. If I get, it happened this past weekend on one of my properties, I had a 7-night stay checking out on Saturday. Well, that will just blow your weekend.
yeah.
So I changed Saturday night to 2 nights, and then I got a 4-night reservation Saturday morning.
Nice.
It was great.
Yeah.
I had to make sure the cleaning crews were on it, but other than that, it became check-in or check-out, check-in for Saturday. But I got a 4-night, even though I switched it to a 2-night.
Yep.
It still worked out great.
Well, those are great tips as far as keeping it up. I know that before, whenever we talked we had Vivian on, you can go back and watch that show as well. She does mostly midterm rentals, but she was talking about manipulating the calendar because I restricted because of being near the entertainment district and everything. I'm not keeping up with that calendar to see what is going to be happening 6 months from now, because it could be something that it'll blow everything out of the water, and I definitely need to change my rates. Now, granted, I'm hooked up with Price Labs and all of that, so it does its own thing.
It should do it for you.
It does. However, I don't like keeping my calendar completely open. But
the longer you have it open, you have more days available. So Airbnb and Vrbo will both push you to the higher. The more days available you have to choose from means you're going to pop higher on
their list.
On the list.
Yep.
I get a questioned all the time, should I have a cleaning fee or not? I don't notice the difference. I really don't. Yes, a lot of people don't want a big cleaning fee. I have it there just to make sure that I'm covered regardless.
Well, I mean, because there is a cleaning fee, people it's evident, and also trying to get people in a certain price range. I do the same as you. I make sure that cleaning fee is in there, but maybe it's not super high. It's about average.
Right. So you mentioned Price Labs, and I mean, I love Price Labs.
Yes.
I think it's invaluable as a tool. If I'm in the listing in Airbnb or Vrbo on Monday, Tuesday I'm in Price Labs. Because I have noticed that, especially in changing of seasons, that you want to make sure and go in and re-choose your base price on that. And I go in there several times a week now.
Gotcha.
Especially if I notice a slowdown on any inquiries and bookings.
And I get this question all the time, do you ever go with the suggested reduction or your special pricing? They give you 3 when you start a new listing. Yes.
All the time.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's 20% off. Start your prices a little higher if you are really sensitive about it, but you know what? I've started them manually, and now just because of saturation and so much competition and so many new properties coming on every day, well, there's always somebody doing a 20% discount.
Oh, yeah.
So you are going to need to compete with those, especially if you don't have a minimum of 3 reviews to give you that star rating there.
Yeah, and that's a key. I mean, if you're a short-term rental user and also owner, then you are definitely looking at the reviews. I want to see that people have stayed there. I want to see that they liked it, and it wasn't, they weren't hard to deal with. It was clean, all that business.
And I've managed some properties that just didn't, for whatever reason, typically location. Location was the issue, and they were never going to get 5 stars. And they would. I mean, they'd get 5 stars, and then we get a 4-star. Well, after enough 4 stars, that's going to bring your average down. Once you hit, I think it's 4.3. Once you go below 4.3, Airbnb and Vrbo will just hide your listing altogether. And you won't, and it'll pop up if like everything else is booked.
Wow. But
you will be buried. So what do you do then?
Shut it down, start all over.
Shut it down and relist. So, and I do it, I'm willing
from
to
another
do it
computer.
all the time. All the time. I'm just like, okay, well, that one's done. Now, I mean, because if you've got upcoming reservations, you can't actually deactivate it.
Yep.
So you hide it, but you post up a brand new listing. I had one that I don't even know why, Airbnb, but they suspended this one. It was like a favorite. But they're like, oh, we had a complaint about this one, and so we're going to suspend it. And I'm like, okay. So I like hid it. Like it's already hidden. And I'm like, I'll just pop up a brand new listing.
Yep, there you go.
And then when that one came back on, because it was a guest favorite, it has a guest favorite badge. I'm like, all right, now I'm going to hide this one, and that'll be my last one. And then the very last golden nugget that you have, if you are ever and you cannot get your inquiries back up, and you cannot figure out what's wrong with this listing, why am I not getting any showings, why are nobody asking about it, why is it not getting booked, snooze the listing for 24 hours. Just snooze it and then bring it back up. And I don't know why, but Airbnb then treats it kind of like it's a brand new listing.
Nice.
And the brand new listings are the ones that get shown first.
Nice. Well, that is a nice tip. And then I guess we will follow this up with another show once we figure out what they've changed. Because probably, 3 months from now, we'll be like, okay, so we figured out what they changed, and here you go. But here's a little bit of what you can do to get yours shown more, get it booked more, and just switching it up a little bit. None of this is hard, difficult, or takes a ton of time, but it does take some attention, and it does
and it's
take
consistency.
And it's consistency, like everything these
everything
days.
Else in these.
Yeah. So just make sure you're doing it. You want it booked consistently. You have to be consistent. Well, thanks for sharing with us your tidbits. And then you guys, if y'all have any tips or tricks, be sure to put those comments down there, and we'll address them. We'll share them with our audience, because we're all in this together and trying to make it work. So by all means, don't gatekeep here. Let's share that information as much as possible.
Agreed. We all need all the help we can get.
Yeah, especially when they're switching it up all the time. I'm Jaylee Thompson with Real Estate Reformation and Texel Real Estate.
And I'm Kristen Gerst with Capricorn Mortgage.
And thank you for joining us. Be sure to like, share, follow, comment, all of the stuff. We look forward to hearing from you, and thanks for joining us.